Hey there, it's SeKo Starcraft bringing you some more Pro V plays from the Red Bull Battlegrounds. It's game 2 between Golden and Bomber. Startale, and I can't remember if 4040 is a team or not. I don't, unless he's, oh yeah, right, I think he's part of Startale as well. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, this was a really kind of emotional time for Golden. This was his last tournament. He was going to retire come hell or high water, win or lose. This is going to be the end of it. I don't know where he's going off to after this. I never followed Golden really closely. He's been in the game for a while. Maybe he's going to go into some more pro sports. Maybe he'll be moving into something else. I'm not exactly sure. Game 1 was really interesting. These two guys have quite a bit of experience with each other, so obviously we're seeing that Golden predicted that Bomber is going to go for, fairly economy focused opening there. Uh, Happily, Bomber did actually go for a 3 racks as opposed to a 3 command center and managed to hold off what was, I thought, a pretty good baneling bust. It was just a really smart defense by Bomber, super clutch, blocking the chokes with engineering bays, and it made him just take it over to the next level. Eventually get out enough units, cancels the third base, recovers most of his army, and just kind of pushes his opponent out from there. This is a funky map. It really inspires people to be greedy. Everybody has their own personal gold. Very easy to get to. Not that hard to defend for most cases either. But it is really close for jobs, muta, harass, things of that nature. So we'll see if either of these players really, take that into consideration. A lot of the games I watched from this tournament, it seemed very apparent that most of these players would take that risk if they had a chance. We do have a command center first on one side. Now, there's the Overlord, is not going to go see it. If the Overlord had seen it, I would have probably expected a third hatchery right on that gold immediately. Looks like he placed this a little bit poorly. Didn't really expect it to be that tight, so his barracks is not really down here where you want it to be. And the reason that's a problem is that gives you a lot more surface area in your command center. So 4 or 6 lings up here would be able to break this thing down really quickly, and therefore it'd be much more difficult to hold. But that doesn't seem to be the case of what's about to happen here. No gas yet out of our Terran player. Zerg hasn't taken any either. So it looks like both these guys are going to be pretty content to just macro up huge. And yep, there's even a third command center now. So it looks like Bomber's going to be very, very greedy in this game and probably go after this gold at the earliest convenience. Scouts around quickly to see if there's an Overlord hiding on that side. But there isn't one. Where did that Overlord go anyways? Oh, there it is. But that's out of the range of any ways to really do any damage to it. If the Overlord did go and scout, as I had said before, I'm certain he would have went for another hatchery. When you have this greedy of an opening from a Terran player, going greedy yourself is generally the answer you want to take, unless you think you can punish him. Very difficult and very risky to try to punish somebody in the early game. You could say baneling bust down the supply depot or something, but don't think that's going to be the case. Command center on the way over. I don't think there's been a scout from the Terran player at all. The Terran player hasn't seen a single thing this game and is going to move down onto this side. Which I find just slightly risky after Golden tried to metagame him last game and go for a more of a baneling style and kind of a bust and greed. Now Golden did see the other command center over here, so I would think that would provoke him very quickly to go for another hatch. Yeah, it looks like that's what this person's job is going to be. It'd be really funny if we went down and took this one instead of the gold. Safer, but go for the greed, man. 3 racks, wall off, with a bunker behind it. Gonna play pretty safe. Let's see if he wants to run this command center over anytime soon. Maybe do some muling with it. You can sometimes get away with that for a while. A couple of mules at the gold and you're soaring, right? So sometimes a trick you can try. One zergling out front will let him know if anything's coming down. We probably will have Stimpack started immediately. Come on, I'm kind of cheering for Golden in this. I know that he's retiring soon. And Bomber is a pretty big deal, pretty tough opponent. But he's down 1 game and I'd rather see more StarCraft. Looks like this SV is going to go scout now. Probably just wants to check and see if this gold base is here. one of the most important things that you can really do at this stage of the game. There's almost no units out for the Zerg player to deal with this. There's some queens, but there's no Zerglings. I think looks like did he cancel a Roche Warren? I think it must have been. That was going on over here. I think he just sacked an Overlord as well. Yes, he did. Doesn't look like that SCV Scout did show anything. Actually, now he scans. Sees the double Evo chamber timings. It's difficult to say if that's necessarily super upgrade focused or that's just about covering a wall. But this is a very interesting play from Bomber. Very unconventional. There's no Hellions, no Reapers. Just a completely gasless opening, essentially. Which gas has he got now? He's taking quite a bit out of here now, but it's been straight into upgrades. There's not been into him trying to get out any type of technology units. Whereas me, I always feel so afraid. I love rushing out some Hellions for map control, getting out some Widow Mines just to be able to put the heat on somebody. I don't know if these Marines are going to get a ton of comp. Wow, they got quite a bit done. One drone. I think they only got one drone out of that, though. Those 3 total ones, I don't know if they were killed in that one attack or not. Hard to say if that was super worth it. It would have been really, really good if he managed to catch his opponent off guard. Could have walked out there, sniped a queen or two. Great creep spread out of Golden. I think this can be really important for him if he is going to go for this Ling baneling style, which is looking like the case with the upgrades that he's getting. Did he get down a baneling nest? Yes, he did. So Zerglings are now spreading out everywhere just to check for expansions. Quite surprising at this stage of the game if you haven't gone for another expansion, just because there's so much temptation there. But we see this really heavy Marine style once again. Stimpak is finished. Combat shields will be done soon, and we have our first medevacs on the way. So we're probably going to see a very drop-focused game from Bomber. It worked out very well from him in the last game. Essentially won that game off of a 2 medevac drop that managed to snipe like 2 hatcheries and most of the workers. This one Zergling is probably feeling quite lucky. Not anymore. Ooh, big tank shot. I do like seeing the tanks come out now. I love that there's tanks in play with Terran at the top level. Hopefully that'll encourage more people to try doing the same. I love my mech, but I am considering going into a bit of a... Wow, this is interesting. More factories, more barracks, getting himself up a pretty sweet mega mix of units there. And he's just going to slow push his way down. Tanks in place. Banelings. Yes. And we do have a Spire, but the Spire's quite a ways off. I mean, we're already at the 11-minute mark, and the Spire is not even halfway done. So we see that it's been a very, very macro-focused game to this point. A couple of pokes, but other than that, everybody's been happy just to try to work their economy up. Does see the drop coming in. He's not in position quick enough to really deal with it. I'm surprised there isn't a Spore and a Spine. Just in a little bit better spots because of how good Bomber is with his drops. And you can't do anything about that unless you've got maybe a Spore back here or something, just to make sure that that medevac doesn't stick around too long. Missile turret's already going into position. None in the main. But I don't think he's too worried about that just yet. I'm going to start taking his gas pretty soon. Now he's just going to try to control creep a little bit. Just dancing around those banelings there. Very, very tempted. It's very important that if you're a Zerg player and you want to go for burrow banelings, don't burrow them near your creep. Unless you have a lot of creep. Because the Terran's going to want in there, scan, and kill all the banelings. Not too sure what those Zerglings are about. Maybe trying to dance around and get some Widow Mine shots, but that does not seem to be what is going on right now in Bomber's head. No real big rush to get down here for another base. He's got 3 bases including a gold. I'm sure he's quite happy with where he is at worker-wise. Somebody's car is honking outside. I live in a pretty safe neighborhood. Hopefully nobody got broken into. I feel sad. Tanks are ready. We'll see if he slow pushes out across the map or if he just kind of, pushes in a big hurry here. Leapfrogging tanks is pretty important. I think a lot of Terrans are used to having that really mobile bio Widowmine army that they can just hit and run with. We lose the Overseer, a little unfortunate. That would be very unfortunate. Not too sure what that medevac was all about there, but that's a pretty big loss. Just so close. Those banelings. Banelings in place, Widowmines in place. Tanks are going to try to siege up the gold base. This is nice. Wow, there's a lot of Marines just sitting around at home though. And I mean, this can be kind of good to pull the Terran out of position here. As you can see, there's not a ton of units. Nice surround though from Golden. He's going to get all these tanks cleaned up. A lot of bio still left back here though, but there are some banelings in this mix. Looks like tank production has stopped for now. It's going back into Widowmine play. No Marauders in here. Sometimes it's nice to have a few of those just to soak up some baneling hits. Just poking ahead with a little bit of units here, trying to go as patiently as possible. Zerg players trying to find the right time to go for the big hit. Not too sure where the banelings, sorry, the Widowmines are in this mix. Pretty good baneling connections there. The Widowmines did not get enough damage in. He tried to morph a few banelings right in front of the Terran player. So I mean, Golden is dealing with this, but Bomber's macro is just too beastly. Look at all the production buildings. So many production buildings with reactors on there. And I just don't think Golden's going to be able to match up with this 2-2 army. He's got 2-2 himself. So much bio though, and this, oh, not the mutas. That is probably going to be a good game here pretty quick. These mutas aren't just going to be able to deal with this kind of attack. Really interesting game on a Bomber though. I'm very impressed with this style. I mean, no rush to another base. He wants that Golden position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 barracks with reactors on them, making 15 Marines at a time, because he's got one with the tech lab. 2 factories and a starport with a reactor. That's huge, huge macro. Showing how Bomber is really at the tip top of the game right now and being able to play at this super elite level. Unfortunately, I believe this is where Golden does retire and he leaves the game. Thanks to him for playing some great StarCraft, and thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been SeKo Starcraft, and we'll hopefully see you guys later.